felt like like my shot felt right there. That's why like it's so frustrating as a shooter, like when it feels so good, but it won't go down for you. That's what sucks about it. But like I said, I'm proud of our team. You know, we didn't shoot the ball like we're capable of, but even that to the side, like we're capable of winning this game without making shots. Our defense could have been a little bit better. We were down 8 or something, maybe 11 going into the fourth. Like we had our chances. Like I felt like I said, we didn't play well. Like we didn't play to the level that we're capable of playing.
Did you see the Fever's playoff game? If you did, you probably have a ton of questions. Why did they play so badly? What happened to Caitlin Clark's shooting? Is this the end of their season? Don't worry, I've got the answers, and trust me, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about what went down. The Fever came into this game riding high, ready to show everyone why they made the playoffs. But man, did things go south fast? It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Their three-point shooting? Awful. 6 for 28. That's painful to even say out loud. And Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation, she went 2 for 13 from downtown.
I think, they were going to make adjustments. They were going to change up their schemes. They were going to change the matchups. You know, we had talked about getting back the matchups that we wanted, that we thought would be helpful for us. And that's going to make a huge difference. And you know, the first 3 quarters we battled. I think we got rattled in the third a little bit when they started they hit some shots. But then we kept making shots, and then we really, you know, that fourth quarter, we stopped scoring. And I'm pretty sure, like Caitlin said, when we go back and look, you know, there were some wide open shots that would have given us even more assists right there. So, you know, whatever matchup they come with, I still think we had some good looks. We just have to do a better job of that 50 points in the paint.
You know what's crazier? This is the same team that was on fire all season. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck happened? Well, I've got some theories, and they might surprise you. There's more to this story than just a bad shooting night. And hey, who says this has to be the end? Stick around, because I'm about to break down how the Fever can turn this nightmare into a comeback story for the ages. You think you know why the Fever lost, but there's a hidden factor nobody's talking about. It's not just about missed shots or bad plays. This one unexpected element might change how you see the whole game. Let's break it down. The Fever's offense? Complete disaster. They shot 6 for 28 from three-point range. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. And Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom? She went 2 for 13 from downtown. It's like the entire team forgot how to shoot overnight. But here's the thing, it wasn't just about the shooting. The first half was a mess. The Fever looked sluggish, like they'd rather be anywhere else but on that court. No hustle, no energy. It was painful to watch. Now, you're probably wondering, where was the coach in all this? Good question. Coach Christy Sides was catching heat for her timeout management.
This is playoff basketball, you know, and that's just, you know, we've got to be able to handle when it gets chaotic. We've got to be able to handle it. We've got to have, you know, when things aren't going our way, when we need to, you know, slow it down and take a good shot. Like we had some great looks, both in transition and also in the half court. So, you know, like Kelsey said, my gosh, like we're going to figure it out, and we've got another opportunity on Wednesday to come back and then take this thing home.
Fans were losing their minds, saying things like, "She has a knack for not taking timeouts when the other team's on a run." That's coaching 101, right? When the other team's on fire, you call a timeout to cool them off. But Sides, she let it burn. And let's talk strategy. The Fever have players like Lexi Hull, who's been shooting 48% from 3 all season. You know how many shots she took in this game? 2 shots? That's like having a Ferrari and never taking it out of first gear. Meanwhile, Marina Mabrey from the Sun was out there looking like a basketball goddess. She dropped 27 points, hitting 5 of 12 from 3. It was like watching 2 different games happening at once. But here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think with the game slipping away, they'd lean on their star player, right? Nope. Fans were scratching their heads, wondering why Clark wasn't more involved in those crucial late-game moments. It's like having a secret weapon and forgetting to use it. Now, you might be thinking, maybe Clark was just having an off night, and sure, that happens. But listen to what she said after the game. "I could have done a better job controlling my emotions." That's not just about missing shots. That's about the pressure of the moment getting to her. And that brings us to the hidden factor nobody's talking about. The Fever's inexperience in high-pressure playoff situations led to a collective breakdown.
Caitlin, could you tell us a little bit about your eye, the hit, if it affected you, how it affected you, and through the rest of the game? Thanks.
Obviously a tough time for that to happen. Like I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half. Overall, like coach said in the locker room, like we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. Like, we were right there, and I felt like we just played a crappy game. Like,
It wasn't just one player having a bad night or one coach making a bad call. It was the entire team crumbling under the weight of expectations. Think about it. This is a young team thrust into the spotlight of the playoffs. The pressure, the stakes, the intensity, it's a whole different ballgame. And when things started going south, they didn't have the experience to right the ship. While the team crumbled under pressure, Caitlin Clark faced a unique challenge. Remember her incredible regular season stats? Well, something happened in the playoffs that threw everything off balance. And it's not what you're thinking. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. This rookie sensation came into the playoffs with expectations higher than the rafters. She'd been lighting up the scoreboard all season, averaging 19.5 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. Those are superstar numbers, folks. But in this playoff game, it was like watching a completely different player. Clark went 2 for 13 from downtown. That's not just bad, that's painful. It's like watching Michael Jordan forget how to dunk. But here's the thing, it wasn't just about missing shots. There's more to this story. You know how sometimes the pressure can get to you? Well, imagine being the face of an entire franchise at 22 years old. That's what Clark was dealing with. Every time she touched the ball, everyone in that arena was holding their breath, expecting magic. That's a lot of weight on young shoulders. And it showed. Clark got hit with a technical foul during the game. That's not something you see often from her.
Me individually, the goal is always get my best, and I take it on the chin. Look forward to what's happening on Wednesday. So I'm excited to hash out the details, look at the film as a group. I'm turning the page, man. Something else I could do. I like to think that every time I step on the floor, I give my best. I think that our team try to give our best.
After the game, she said, "I think I could have done a better job keeping my emotions in check." That's not just about missing shot. That's about the pressure cooker of playoff basketball getting to her. But wait, it gets crazier. Clark also said, "I thought I got fouled a couple of times during the second half on jump shots. It happens. Sometimes they get called, sometimes they don't. I felt I settled too much for my jump shot." That's a rookie learning the hard way that playoff basketball is a whole different animal. The refs swallow their whistles, and suddenly, those easy calls you got all season, they're gone. Now you might be thinking, okay, so she had a bad game. It happens. But here's where it gets interesting. The Sun didn't just let Clark have a bad game, they made her have a bad game. Their defensive strategy was like a masterclass in shutting down a star player. Think about it. All season long, teams have been trying to stop Clark, but the Sun, they took it to another level. They hounded her every step, didn't give her an inch of space, forced her into tough shot, and when she tried to pass, they were there, disrupting everything. It was like watching a chess match. The Sun knew that if they could shut down Clark, the whole Fever offense would fall apart, and that's exactly what happened. The Fever didn't know how to react when their star player was neutralized. It exposed a huge weakness in their game plan. But here's the real kicker. This wasn't just about Clark having a bad game or the Sun playing great defense. It was about the Fever's over-reliance on their rookie star. They put so much pressure on her to carry the team that when she struggled, the whole house of cards came tumbling down. So the Fever's game plan crumbled. But here's the thing. Sometimes you need to break something down to build it back up better. What if this loss is exactly what the Fever needed to unlock their true potential? I've got a crazy idea that could turn the Fever's season around overnight. Picture this, a completely revamped offense that doesn't just rely on Caitlin Clark's magic, but turns the whole team into a scoring threat. Sounds wild, right? But hear me out. First things first, the Fever need to shake up their offensive strategy. They can't keep putting all their eggs in the Clark basket. Sure, she's a superstar, but basketball is a team sport. What if they started running more plays that use Clark as a decoy? She draws so much attention. Imagine the open looks her teammates could get. Speaking of teammates, it's time to unleash some hidden weapons. Remember Lexi Hull? She's been shooting 48% from 3 all season, but only took 2 shots in that playoff game. That's insane. The Fever need to get her more involved. Same goes for players like Nalissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell. They've got talent, but they need more opportunities to shine. Now let's talk about that 3-point shooting. 6 for 28 is rough. No way around it. But here's a thought. What if the Fever focused on driving to the basket more? Not only could it create easier scoring opportunities, but it might also draw more fouls. Plus, when you're getting to the rim, it opens up kickout passes for those 3-pointers. Suddenly, those shots become a lot easier. But it's not just about X's and O's. The Fever need to work on their mental game too. Clark mentioned needing to reset and keep her composure during tough stretches. That's huge. What if the team started doing mental toughness drills? Practicing staying calm under pressure could be a game changer. Here's another wild idea. What if the Fever embraced the underdog role? Everyone's counting them out now. Why not use that as fuel? Play with a chip on their shoulder. Turn that frustration into motivation. It worked for Michael Jordan when he got cut from his high school team. Now here's where it gets really interesting. What if the Fever completely flipped the script on their offense? Imagine this. Instead of relying on set plays, they go full-on improvisation mode. Think Jazz basketball. Clark's got incredible court vision and creativity. What if they let her orchestrate the offense on the fly? It would be unpredictable, hard to scout, and it could catch opponents completely off guard. But for this to work, everyone needs to be on the same page. That means more team bonding off the court, movie nights, group dinners, whatever it takes to build that chemistry. Because when you're playing Jazz basketball, you need to be able to read your teammates' minds. And let's not forget about defense. The best offense is a good defense, right? What if the Fever ramped up their defensive intensity? Full court press, aggressive trapping, the works. Not only could it lead to easy transition baskets, but it could also wear down opponents over the course of a game. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but can they really turn things around that fast? And you're right to be skeptical. But here's the thing, sometimes a wake-up call like this is exactly what a team needs. It forces you to look in the mirror, address your weaknesses, and come back stronger. You think this loss crushed the Fever's spirits? Think again. There's a secret silver lining here that nobody's talking about. It's so crazy, it might just turn the entire WNBA on its head. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. The Fever just made their first playoff appearance since 2016. That's huge. It's like they've been wandering in the basketball desert for years, and they finally found an oasis. Now, I know what you're thinking, but they lost. How is that a good thing? Well, sometimes you need to taste defeat to really appreciate victory. Think about it. This young team just got a crash course in playoff intensity. They felt the pressure, they saw how the game changes when everything's on the line. That's not something you can learn in practice or regular season games. It's like the difference between reading about skydiving and actually jumping out of a plane. And let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a second. Sure, she had a rough night, but you know what's crazy? Even with that tough loss, Clark's impact on the WNBA is undeniable. We're talking about games drawing crowds of over 16,000 fans. That's insane. Clark's not just a player, she's a phenomenon. She's bringing eyes to the league, getting people excited about women's basketball in a way we haven't seen before. Here's where it gets really interesting. After the game, Clark said, "It's just a good learning opportunity for us." Now, that might sound like standard post-game talk, but listen to what she's really saying. She's not defeated. She's not making excuses. She's looking at this as a chance to grow, to get better. That's the mindset of a champion. You know who else had some tough losses early in their career? Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. All these legends face setbacks, moments where they could have given up, but instead, they used those losses as fuel. They came back stronger, hungrier, more determined than ever. What if we're watching the same thing happen with the Fever? What if this loss is the spark that ignites a fire in Clark and the whole team? Imagine a Fever team that comes back next season with a vengeance, playing with the kind of intensity and focus that only comes from tasting defeat and deciding never again. And it's not just about Clark. This experience could be the catalyst that transforms the entire team. Nalissa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, Erica Wheeler, they've all got a taste of playoff basketball now. They know what it takes. They've seen the level they need to reach. It's like they've been given a roadmap to greatness. But here's the real kicker. This loss doesn't just affect the Fever. It could change the whole landscape of the WNBA. Think about it. Other teams are going to be studying this game, trying to figure out how to stop Clark and the Fever. That means the Fever are going to have to evolve, to come up with new strategies, new plays, and when they do, it's going to force the rest of the league to step up their game too. We could be on the verge of a new era in women's basketball, an era where the level of play is higher than ever before, where every game is a must-watch event, and it all started with this playoff loss. So yeah, the Fever lost a game, but they might have won something much bigger. They've got the attention of the basketball world. They've got a superstar in the making with Clark, and now they've got the fire of defeat burning in their bellies. That's a recipe for something special. All right, let's wrap this up. The Fever's playoff loss? Yeah, it stung. But here's the thing. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. This team's got more potential than a rookie with a blank stat sheet. Think about it. Caitlin Clark, the superstar in the making, she's learned a big lesson. She said it herself. It's just a good learning opportunity for us. That's not defeat talking. That's a champion in the making. And the rest of the team, they've tasted playoff basketball now. They know what it takes. Next season, watch out. The Fever are going to come back with a vengeance. So Fever fans, don't give up. This loss, it's just fuel for the fire. The comeback starts now, and when it happens, it's going to be epic. The Fever aren't just building a team, they're building a legacy.